Hey guys, in this quick video I'm going to show you how to navigate with your Garmin Fenix 7 and Garmin Epix Gen 2. It's basically the same watch. I'll show you how to do it on the Gen 2, but the interface and the navigation workflow is the same. We're going to do some of the basic things. There's a million things you could do. I don't want to make a 5-hour video, but there's a million things you can do. We're going to create a course. We're going to work with Waypoints. I'll show you what it's like to actually create the course, take it out in the trail and use it. I'll walk you through some of the settings that I like to tweak for hiking and for the outdoors. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll be able to create your own hike or outdoor adventure, load it onto your watch, go out and hike. Now, if you're liking this video, as always, if you could do me a big favor and click a little thumbs up, that helps me out a ton, so thank you for that. And thank you for everyone who supported the channel over the years, and thank you for just watching the video. I appreciate it. And if you have any questions as we go along, just leave me a comment on the YouTube page, and I will do my best to answer it. And if there's anything else you want me to see me cover in terms of the watch and navigation, just let me know, and I'll do my best there as well. All right, let's get on the computer, plan a hike, and then go and hit the trail with it.
All right, so before we dive into making some navigation plans, there's two Garmin entities that you need to be aware of. The first is Garmin Connect. And Garmin Connect is basically the service that you will sync your watch with, and it is where the bulk of the data resides and where you can get at it and make dashboards and do planning and a lot of other features. Things like your sleep, your heart rate, steps, all of the general health stuff lives in the Garmin Connect world. Now there's another world here in the Garmin sphere called Garmin Explore, and this is more navigation focused, and this was where you would sync like is where you sync an inReach or a Garmin handheld. It also works for the Fenix and the Epix as well. And if you want to use waypoints, you have to do it here in Explore. Also topographic maps, you access them in Explore, but everything else you access in Connect. Now, this is not the slickest setup. I understand logically why these two things are separated, and I could probably do a whole video on how this can be done better, or I think it could be done better. But anyway, those are the things that you need to be aware of. We're going to mainly be living in Garmin Connect, but I am going to show you Garmin Explore as well. And both systems have mobile apps as well, which I will also show you in a second. All right, so the main building block or the main tool that you're going to use to navigate with your Fenix or Epix is something called a course. And if you're familiar with GPX tracks or routes, it's kind of a combination between those. Let me just show you how to do it so that it'll make a little more sense. If you go to Garmin Connect on the web interface and you go to training and you go to courses and you click, you'll be brought to this screen right here where you can draw a new course. So let's go to Crystal Cove State Park. Here I am. Zoom out a little bit, and we're going to go to create a course. I'm going to choose hiking, but you can obviously choose whatever you'd like to do. And now I have this little tool where I can essentially draw and drop waypoints on the map, and it will route me whichever way I need to go. Now there's a few options here. You can do satellite, you can do map, you can change it to here maps, which are so-so for trails, or OpenStreetMaps, which are basically your best bet, usually for trails. You can see here we have all the trails on there, but no lines. What's interesting is that even though your Fenix or Epix has Topo Active maps on there, they're not available in this Garmin Connect course planner. I'll show you where they are, but just interesting to know that you cannot do that. So let's go ahead and plan a course. So we're going to click at the start, and then let's click at the end. We'll go to this junction right there. Now you notice that it's automatically routed me on these trails, taking the quickest route there. But the thing is, when I'm doing an activity in the outdoors, like hiking or trail run or something, it's not like Google Maps, right? It's not like, get me to the airport as soon as you can. It's the quickest route. You really want to take certain trails at some point and sort of customize it so that you're on specific trails and not, walking on the interstate. So what you can do is you can just drag the blue line here for the course wherever you want, and it will customize what this all does for you. And you can see I've pulled it around so that it can, do different things there. So that's all good, and that's all how a course works. Now, there's a new feature on courses for the Fenix and Epix, and maybe it'll get rolled out to other devices too. and those are course points. And course points are really just points along the route that you're taking the course, where you want to see how far it is or how far away you are from it. And that's different than a waypoint or a saved location, unfortunately, but that's just how it is. Let me show you how it is. You can choose the type of course point that you want to do. You can name it Toilet A, and then you can just click anywhere on the line here, and it will drop the course point. You can see it also gives me the elevation. We'll save the point, and you can add as many of these as you'd like to. Tunnel, even though there's not a tunnel here, we can click tunnel, save point. So you get the idea. You can add as many of these as you want. Now, these don't have any function in terms of navigation on the Fenix or Epix, aside from being little parts of the cue sheet. I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but you'll be able to see how far away you are from these. So it's handy if you want to break up your course into manageable chunks, like let's make it to the summit, or this is where the feed station is, or a rest area, or a bailout point, or whatever it might be. You can do those all with these course points. Now, to save your course, we're going to name it. So let's call it test, or we'll just do this, test from Connect Online. And then we'll save it, and then we have to transfer it to the device. I will show you what that is all about, but you can see here I can scroll around it and get all kinds of handy information. Now, if you don't want to use this tool to plan a hike, let's say you have a GPX file and you want to bring something in, you can also just import that. So you'll see down here, there's a little thing for import. So if I go ahead and click on that, it's asking me if I want to drag a GPX in. Here's a GPX that I had handy. Let's do get started. Use OpenStreetMap, pick hiking, continue, and here it is. This is a GPX that I've just imported. Everything on the Fenix or Epix works as a course. So whether it's a track or a route, it will bring it in and it will navigate you on that just like it would on a course. Now, one thing that is interesting here is that in this GPX file, I have some waypoints along the course. Those were not imported as course points. Maybe at some point Garmin will do that. But for now, if you do have waypoints along here, you have to bring them into your watch in a different way using Garmin Explore. I'll show you that in a second. But they're not automatically brought in as course points, which is a little disappointing, but maybe that'll be a feature that Garmin adds in the future. All right, so here we are in Garmin Explore, and this is the other ecosystem. I'm on the map page. There are other pages here for your inReach and some other things in the account. I'm not going to do a deep dive here. There's collections, which are basically folders, and it's broken everything out into tracks, routes, courses, unorganized. You get the idea. But here we are at Crystal Cove Park. Now, one of the things that's interesting is that here I have topo maps, topo active, aerial, and road. I don't have the map choices that I had on Garmin Connect, but I do have topo active, which is included on the watch. So that is interesting. Now, I'm in the Explore site. I can add waypoints and I can create routes, but you'll notice that courses are not here. Now, I've wondered why you cannot create a course from the web interface of Garmin Explore for many years now. I'm always saying in my videos, if you've watched older ones, it's got to be just a matter of time when they will have a snap to course, but they don't. So if you click on this and we start back from that place where I started before and we go to the point there, it just gives me a straight line. So what I would have to do is I'd have to do a detailed, go along the line and make all these little points to make this work, which is not the greatest thing. So we're not going to do that. So don't use Garmin Explore to create courses, use Garmin Connect, but I just wanted to show you that's how it works. But you need to use Garmin Explore if you want to create waypoints. You cannot create waypoints in Garmin Connect. I know it's confusing and I'm saying Garmin a lot, but let's go ahead and put a waypoint here and we can name it Test Explore Web, and I can change the symbol to be whatever. Have all these different things here. Let's make it a horseshoe, because why not? So there's that, and what I'm going to do is we're going to sync this into the watch when we get it. So that's there right now, and we're all set. Now, as long as we're here, let me just do this, because in case you're wondering, you can import a GPX file, and you can do it either as a track or a route. Now, if you do it as a route, it says you can only do 200 data points. And what that means is on a track file, if your GPX is stored as a track, it probably has hundreds and hundreds of data points in there, and this will not work as a route. And if you want a detailed explanation of the difference between a track and a route, I have a video on that, so I'll put a link to it under the video here, but it's a topic for another time. But let's do import as this. Let's put it into an existing collection called transfer that I have set up. Next, and then I'll pull it in. This is the exact same one I just showed you. Error uploading file, that's great. Okay, let's try something else. Error uploading file. So I'm not sure what's going on, but obviously this is not a reliable way to do GPX files. So we're just going to use this for waypoints. So let's go ahead and take a look at some other options.
All right, so here I am on the Garmin Connect mobile app, and I'm on iOS. And if we want to go to courses, we just go to training and then courses. And there you can see I've synced my test on there. So if I want to send that to my watch, all I have to do is do this, click up here, send to device, and once I sync it, it will go there. But let's go ahead and create another course. So I'm just going to hit this plus. It doesn't allow me to do hiking here, because why would it do that? So we're going to call it other. And I can do a couple things. I can do automatic, in which case I will say, give me a 3-mile hike in whatever, a random direction. Next, and then I just have to click on a starting point. So if I click there, it will calculate it and will automatically create one for me. And I can redo it if I want to. I can undo it. I can add course points to this, which is all helpful. I can drag this around, and here's a course point. So very cool. I can also do a course where I have a little bit more control, like the web experience, but it doesn't give you as much control. I'll show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and do custom, and then let me go ahead and hit here to start it. And then I can do something similar where I click on another point out here, and it will do it for me just like we did before. So another option if you want. Generally, I will use the computer to do this, but you can do it from here, and you can do it from the watch as well. I'll show you that in a little bit too. All right, so here I am in the Garmin Explore app, and you can see it's already synced. There's my waypoint that I had before. Test Explore Web. This is the one we created on the web interface. So that's good. Now, what you're going to find interesting here is that on the Garmin Explore app, if I hit plus, I can do waypoint, course, import GPX, but I can't do a route. I can only do a course, unlike the web version, which only lets me do a route. So let's do create course, and we can change the map layers around. I can do quads, which is great. I can do some of the other options here. But let's go ahead and whatever, we can start it from here, and let's go out here. Snap to point not supported. That's because I'm using the wrong map. Here we go. You can see there's a little magnet there. That'll work. So if I just undo this and then we go back here, there it's snapped to it, and I can create a course that way. So another way to do it, and again, I wish there was some uniformity between all of these tools and maybe even a way to combine all these tools, but there is not. But I can create a course on here and save it if I'd like to. If we wanted to get this waypoint that we created and transfer it to the device, it's not going to come through Garmin Connect. It has to come through here. So you can see it's syncing on the bottom there, syncing from Epix, and we have to sync it, and that will show up, the waypoint will show up on the Fenix or the Epix as a saved location. Saved location means waypoints in the Fenix and Epix world. So that's how we can do all the planning. Let's go ahead and get out on the trails and follow that course and see what the experience is like. All right, so before we start hiking, let's go ahead and tweak some of the settings for our first time. So let's go into hike, And here we are. Look how quickly it locked on to the GPS. I have multi-band and multi-gnss enabled. Well, let's hold down this key right here, and we can get to our settings here. Let's go to hike settings. And first off, I can change the data screen. So this is pretty much the way you do any Garmin. I can change whatever they are. I can do the layouts, whatever that might be. You can customize that however you need to. Let's go back to settings. Let's go to alerts. Now I've synced this with Garmin Connect and Garmin Explore. So my waypoint and my course should be in here, but let's go to alert and let's go to add new, and I can do an alert based on different pieces of data that are in here. So I can get an alert maybe if I'm at a certain elevation and I want to check whether I'm getting altitude sickness or whatever it might be. But let's go to proximity and create new. And there is our waypoint that we set earlier in Garmin Explore, Test Explore. So let's click on that, and it's going to give me a radius, a proximity alarm radius. So let's go ahead and make it 0.1 miles. And then, okay, so now I've got a proximity alarm. I should get alerted when I get close to that waypoint or save location, as it is called on this watch. And that comes in handy if you're like looking for a campsite or a spring or something and you want to get notified when that happens. So that's a handy one. Power mode, you can tweak the power settings. I'm not going to get into that too deep here, but you can change it to whatever you want it to be if you want to tweak more battery out of it. Map, let's go into map. Now I can go to configure maps and I can turn the maps on or off. So if I've loaded different maps on here, like OpenStreetMaps or whatever it might be, I can turn them on or off. That's kind of handy. It doesn't really hurt to have them all on, I've noticed already, but you can tweak it. And then you can also change the map theme. And you can change it from whatever you want, system, high contrast. I had it on high contrast. Let's just go to system so you can see. And then you can restore it. So, okay, that's great. Routing, this is going to basically tell the watch how you want to navigate when you're going here. So activity hiking, that's fine, and that'll change based on what you have. Popularity routing will take you on trails, and this is all for the routing on the watch. It'll take you on trails and roads that are popular with other users. Courses is important. If you go to courses, you can do follow course or use map. If you do follow course, it'll follow the course that we set out before exactly. If you use map, it will route you using the routable maps that it has on board. So we want to do follow course because we want it to go the way we had it before. So let's go ahead and hit follow course. Calculation method, if you're doing on the watch routing, you can change the way it does it. So minimize time, distance, or ascent. Let's minimize ascent because I'm lazy. And then avoidances, you can avoid roads and toll roads and all that stuff. Auto pause is helpful if you have your recording settings on, if you want it to pause automatically. I have it off because I pause it manually. Climb Pro I have on. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Auto climb is basically Climb Pro automatically for courses that are, or when you're not following a course, it'll give you some stats on a climb that you have, and I'll show you what that looks like. 3D speed and distance I leave on. That's basically measuring your speed and distance as you travel vertically. So if you're doing something like rock climbing, you know, obviously you might, if you're climbing like El Capitan, you're going thousands of feet up, and you want to measure that. I just leave that on. I find that the differences aren't really any different. Lap key, touch is the touch screen on or off. I have it on, but you can operate everything I'm going to show you with just the keys as well. Satellites, I use all and multi-band because I want the most accurate track, and that seems to give it. If you want to get more battery life, you can tweak it down to all systems or GPS only, but let's leave it on this. And then the rest of it's sort of common sense in there. Now, back to the settings. I can do power mode. I can do training, navigation. We'll come back to navigation. I'm just going to show you two other settings that you might want to do that are outside of hike settings. So let's go down. This is just the normal settings part. Let's go to navigation. And under navigation, heading bug I leave on. That's the little dot that shows you the direction that you're supposed to be going. And then if we go to alerts, this one can be helpful. I can do I can turn off, on or off alerts for when I'm off course. So if I've gone off the line and when there's a sharp turn. Now, sometimes if you're going up switchbacks or there's a lot of twists and turns on your hike, you'll get a turn prompt all the time. It can be maddening, so you might want to turn that off occasionally. And then you can do final ETE, you can turn that on or off for 2 when you're going to get back in the final distance. So those will just give you a little alert when you're getting close to where you want to go. If we go into system, and then we go down to data recording, if I go here, you can change the frequency of the data recording from every second to smart. Smart uses basically your heart rate, the accelerometer, to figure out when you're moving or not moving. Every second just records every second. I find that every second gives me a more accurate distance and more accurate readings as long as I pause it when I stop. I manually pause it when I stop, or you can use auto pause. So those are the settings that I use. Now let's go back to hike and let's get our course dialed in here. So if I hit the up button, I can navigate to different areas here. I can do saved location, so we can navigate to our waypoint if we want, and that would route it on the watch. We can do courses, and you can see I have some courses in here. Here's the course that we created. I can also create a new course, and we could just give it a name, course 1, add a location to it, and we would just add whatever locations we wanted to add to the course from here. And I can use the map, and if I use the map, I can move around on the map.
In either the federal or the state, I don't remember.
And there it is. I can add that to the course, and I can get details on that. Now, the one thing that's weird about courses on here, on the web, you only need 1 location to make a course. On here, you need 2 locations. But you can see we could do the map we did. We can do map points, and then it will give us different normal POIs that we would have anywhere else, like on a regular Garmin or on a whatever Google Maps. Let's go to Around Me. I can look on the map there, or I can go here. Let's go back one, and we could go to, here's a good taco place, Bear Flag Fish, and there I have my places on the course, and I can hit done, and then I can either do the course, I can look at a map of the course. Now it's routing me in a straight line because I didn't put it on trails or anything, but let me show you. If we go back to our test course here, I can do some things on it. I can look at a map, and this will look like it did on the web. There you can see we're looking pretty good. I can reverse it. I can do an elevation plot. So that's showing me what it's going to look like to hike. That's all very handy. I can change the name. I can edit it. I can view the climbs. This will break down all of the climbs on the hike. So that's pretty cool if you want to know what's going on before. And I can delete it. So pretty straightforward, but let's go ahead and do the course. This is the one we're going to do. And we'll get going. So if I do course, it'll load it up, and there it is. So I'm going to go hit start, and now I can cycle through my screens. Here are my hiking screens. There we go. So there it all is. Let's start hiking, and I'll show you these screens in detail. All right, so here is the data screen. If I go through, here is the map screen, and you can see I've got 0.12 miles to my next point here. This next screen is the overall progress of my trip. This next screen is a data screen that I set up, and here are my course points. There's the toilet A, 0.1 miles, and there are the other ones that we set in there. Here's my Climb Pro. I'm starting the climb, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second as we go up. Here's my my heading bug, my course guide. Here's my overall progress on the hike, and then back to the data screens. Now, one of the things I like to do at the trailhead is set a waypoint, and a waypoint is a saved location on here. So we're going to hold this button down right here, and you can see I have some options there, but I'm going to go to save location, and then we'll go ahead and save it. Now it's saved, and I can also edit it. I can change the name, I can change the icon, whatever position, but let's not do that. Let's just back out of it. And now it is saved. So when we sync this back to Garmin Explore, that waypoint will be in there. And I can also navigate to it if I wanted to. So if I do, if I stop the course, I could go through and then navigate it. It would be listed in my saved locations for navigation. But anyway, let's go ahead and hike. There you can see I got 0.11 miles. So let's go ahead and hike and get up to the next spot and see what happens when we get there. All right, you can see that we're getting closer, 200 some feet. Let's go onto this screen. One tip, if you can use the map screen, don't leave it on because it burns the most battery because you have all those pixels on the screen and it has to redraw constantly. A screen like this saves a little bit more battery for you. You can get more normal life out of it. But let's see what happens here as we go. And also, just so you know, it's not showing heart rate because I don't have it on my wrist right now. There we go. You can see I got the waypoint for toilet A in 50 feet or so. And it's already incremented me to the next point, which is right here, gear and 0.3 miles. So that's how the course points work. Very helpful if you're going along. As long as we're on Climb Pro, you can kind of see how it's turned in. The blue is turning to green as we go up the climb. So that's a helpful thing as well. Now, if I want to go around on the map, maybe make some choices, I have touch on, which is the easiest way. I can hit touch. And now I can scroll around the screen. I can zoom in and out with these keys over here, and I can see the trail, and I can do different things over here. I can click on this point, and it'll let me go to that point. I can save that location. I can look at it, whatever I want to do. And then to back out of this, all I have to do is hit this back button, and now it's back on its regular setting here, and I'm ready to hike. So let's keep hiking and see what else happens. We should get some turn alerts as we go, and we should get a proximity alarm for that waypoint that we set. So let's go ahead and keep hiking. All right, so if you look ahead there, you can see there's a bit of a 90-degree turn up in the trail. You can see that it's saying in whatever, 139 yards or feet, I have a turn up there, and you can see the elbow in it, and it should give me an alert. So let's go to the other screen and see if it gives me the alert at that sharp turn, or what it's considering a sharp turn. So let's see. All right, so there's my turn alert, 60 feet. I've got this turn over there, and that's what I have to do. Now, if you don't want that alert, you can disable it. I showed you how to do that in the settings. Those are the turn alerts. If you're doing a trail that has a lot of switchbacks, there's another alert, a lot of switchbacks. That can get annoying pretty quickly. But if you're going fast and there's a lot of twists and turns, like if I was on a mountain bike coming down this, getting that type of alert would be helpful. As long as we're here, let's check in. Yeah, you can see my course point is up ahead, and if I go down, you can see there's my Climb Pro, and it's being filled in nicely as we go up this climb. So let's keep going. We should hit the waypoint proximity alert soon, so let's see what happens with that. As that guy flies over my head. All right, let's keep hiking. As long as we're hiking here, let me just show you how beautiful this is. This is Crystal Cove State Park in Southern California, Newport Beach, Laguna area. So this is what I'm looking at while you're looking at the watch. All right, let's get back to the watch. All right, there's my proximity waypoint. That's 0.1 miles from that test waypoint that we put into Explore. So that's cool. We got that. And then my next landmark here is 1.2 miles up there. And if you look at the map, let's click on it. You can see, remember I did the horseshoe? There's the horseshoe waypoint that we had in Explore. So all set there. Now let's hike up, because one thing that's interesting is that our next junction up here is actually a split. So let's see if it gives us a notification that we need to turn when we get there. And it already says that we're bearing to the left on that bottom thing right down there. It says 0.12 miles, bear to the left. So it's already doing that. Let's see if it gives us an alert when we get there too. All right, so here we are, we're coming up to the junction, and you can see it's telling me that I do have to bear to the right up here, but so far no alarm. I'm guessing it might not give us an alarm because we are, because the angle here is not that big, right? It's just a split. It really should give you an alarm because there is a trail split. And if it gives you a turn alarm, it should give us this as well. But let's go off trail. Let me show you what happens when we make a mistake and we go up the wrong trail. All right, it's just giving me an alert that I need to turn around. It gave me a little audible beep too, that we're off trail. Now, you can see it's saying turn around and go 338 feet back. So let's go ahead and do that. And at some point it should give me an on-trail alert as well. So once we get back to the course, it'll alert me that we're back to the course and we should be good. There's my off-course alert. It's still telling me I'm off course, which is a good thing. Let's get it to tell me that I'm on course once we're back on the course here. Here's the trail up there. Let's see if it gives me my alert once I get back on here. All right, I'm on the trail. That's interesting. It didn't give me an on-course alert. Normally it would, and it will at some point. I'm just wondering why it's not doing it now. If I scroll up, though, you'll be able to see here's our position on the hike, the green part. Here you can see it says off course 0, so that we know we are here. Here you can see we're starting the descent, so it's a Climb Pro kind of in reverse going downhill. And you can see we have the distances to our next points here. It looks like it's not registering that point right there. So this is a good example how, you know, it's not always perfect the way this works, but you did see we did get some alerts as we went. And between all of the information on here, you can definitely tell that we are indeed on the trail. You can also see here my orange track, that's the track that I did, and the purple one is the track that I'm doing. So that's helpful to know. Now, let's just end it here. We know that we're on track. Let me show you what you can do to go back, because a common feature request or tutorial request is, how do I go back on the track that I had? So for this one, let's just go back into hike settings. Let's go up a screen, make it easy here. Let's do stop course. Stop the course. So stopping the course stops the navigation, but it doesn't stop my tracking of the hike. So I'm still tracking the hike, but you'll see that I don't have the Climb Pro and all the navigation screens anymore, because now I'm just tracking an activity. But because I was tracking an activity from before, I can follow that all the way back. So if I go back into hike settings, and let's go down to, or actually no, I want to go to navigation. Sorry guys. Navigation. And I can navigate to a point, or I can do back to start. Now, if you remember, we did a waypoint back at the start too, and I can go down to saved locations. And there's the waypoint that I had, so we could go back to that and use that as a navigation point. But instead, I'll just show you this back to start, and just do track back, and that will bring us back exactly on the track. Now, if I selected route back there, it would actually bring me on a unique route. So let's say I took a long way to get somewhere and there's a shorter way back. If I do route, it'll give me the shorter way back. If I do track back, it'll bring me back exactly on the path that I took. So now you can see it's 1.03 miles to the end. And if I look back here, I'll have these navigation screens that I had before. And then all I have to do is walk back the way I just navigated the other course. Now I'm just following the purple line back the way I was before. Now, one of the other things you might notice here as we're walking is that I have the purple navigation line, which is the one I need to follow, but I also have my old track line, which is the old orange one right there. So even if I wasn't using this navigation function, but I was recording my hike, I would just be able to look at the map and basically follow my line back the way I came. So you have some options here. Oh, so this is interesting. We just left the proximity point for that test waypoint that we had. So that's a little helpful notice, right? If we went past something that we wanted to find, like a spring or a campsite, we would know if we went out of that zone. So very, very cool. All right, so here we are. We're almost back. You can see there's the trailhead in the distance. And when we get to the end, all we have to do, I can just end it now, it doesn't matter. I just hit this end button and then we can save it. And now it will sync back to Garmin Connect and Garmin Explore, and we should be able to get the waypoints and the track in there and take a look at them. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so here I am in Garmin Explore. We're going to go to Garmin Explore to get our waypoint back that we set. You can see it's syncing there. The sync is finished. So if we go over to the folders and we go to waypoints, there is our waypoint that we set, and we can see it on the map right down there. So that's how we get our waypoints back. Now, to see the actual hike and the details from the hike, we're going to go to Garmin Connect. I know it's clunky, but let's go ahead and do that. So here we go. Here's our hike. And if we go into the hike here, here's our hike. Now, you'll notice that we have a track of, this is the recorded part. This has nothing necessarily to do with the navigation you did, because you could see here was our navigation where we came, and then we decided to go up this by mistake, or, instead of that. But you can see it's all on here, and the waypoints are not on here. The waypoints, again, are in Garmin Explore. But from here, once we have this, it's also synced back to the websites. We can export this as a GPX. We can export the waypoint as a GPX, and this is a GPX, and combine them if we want. But obviously, there's a lot we could do. But that's it. So hopefully this was helpful. And again, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them, guys. And have fun out there.